At least 12 people, including 7 children, are reported to have been killed in an Israeli military assault on Gaza City overnight. Video obtained by CNN shows some of the victims being rushed to the hospital, and we have to warn you, the images are disturbing. The casualty figures coming in to us from the spokesperson for the Al-Shifa Hospital, who says the strikes targeted residential buildings and tented houses for displaced people. CNN's Jeremy Diamond is reporting for us from Tel Aviv this hour. Jeremy, just tell us what more you're learning about what happened overnight and what stage of the assault on Gaza City we are now in.
Well, people in Gaza City described a terrifying night with intense aerial bombardment of residential buildings and tents housing displaced people in Gaza City, as the Israeli military is not only intensifying its bombardment but also beginning to move in on the ground, capturing about 40% of Gaza City, according to the Israeli military. More than a dozen people were killed in those overnight strikes in Gaza City, and what is especially shocking about these strikes is the number of children among the dead. At least seven children were among those people who were killed in Gaza City alone. And you can see in video from emergency response workers overnight, children who are being pulled out of buildings, their small bodies laying on stretchers. Many of them were also severely burned in some of these strikes. We heard from one Gaza civil defense firefighter who described a mother who was crawling on the floor of a charred building, her hands burning as she was searching for her children. We also saw a video of a child, a toddler it would seem, wearing Christmas pajamas effectively, who was dead as a result of some of these strikes. Just horrific scenes that we are seeing. And across Gaza altogether, 69 people have now been killed over the past day, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. And indeed, Israeli officials are warning that this will intensify. The Israeli Defense Minister, Israel Katz, vowing that the gates of hell, he says, are now being opened on Gaza City, and that they will remain open unless Hamas agrees to Israel's conditions for ending the war in Gaza, which includes Hamas agreeing to not only release all of the hostages, but also agreeing to disarm itself as well. Now, in addition to that, we are also getting news about the hostages who are still held in Gaza. One man in particular, Guy Gilboa Dalal, who has now been held in Gaza for 700 days. He was seen in a Hamas video in which he's filmed actually in a car above ground driving through Gaza City past several locations in that city that we have been able to geolocate, confirming that he is indeed in Gaza City. He, interestingly, in the video talks about this Israeli military assault that is impending on Gaza City. He says it gives him nightmares, and he says he believes that it means that he and the other hostages, more than 8 other hostages who he says are being held in Gaza City, will die in Gaza City. Now, we cannot independently confirm that number of hostages being held in Gaza City. Also important to note that by virtue of being a hostage and being filmed in this video, he is speaking under duress. But nonetheless, it does echo the fears of so many of the hostage families that we have been hearing over the last few days about what this military operation offensive in Gaza City will mean for not only the Palestinians, nearly a million of whom are living in Gaza City, but also, of course, for the hostages who are being held there.
And in the face of these devastating images coming out of Gaza City, more pressure is coming from the EU. We've been hearing a top EU official accusing Israel now of genocide. Talk to us more about that, and to be honest, whether any of this is likely to move the needle at this point.
Well, the comments came from Teresa Ribera, who is the European Commission's executive vice president, and it is the first time that we have heard such a senior EU official describe what is happening in Gaza as a genocide, and it came in the context of her lamenting the European Union's inability to speak with one voice and to stop what she described as a genocide in Gaza. Important to note, of course, that the Israeli government firmly rejects any notion that it is carrying carrying out a genocide in Gaza, insisting that its campaign is its military campaign in Gaza is directed at Hamas. But Teresa Ribera, this senior EU official, is just the latest voice to be added to a growing chorus of voices who are saying that they believe that what is happening in Gaza is a genocide. Last week, we saw the Association of Genocide Scholars declare as much. We've heard many human rights organizations, from Amnesty International to Human Rights Watch, and most recently, two prominent Israeli human rights organizations also saying that what is happening in Gaza is a genocide. Now, whether or not it actually moves the needle and impacts the Israeli military and the Israeli government's thinking about the way to proceed, so far it has not. Difficult to see that it will in the future.
Yeah, Jeremy Diamond, appreciate your reporting. Thank you. Now, Belgium has said it will recognise Palestinian statehood this month at the United Nations General Assembly. We heard earlier from Belgium's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister. Take a listen now to what he told Becky Anderson yesterday about Israel's accusation that recognition for Palestine is a reward to Hamas.
We have decided to formally recognize with judicial effect and legal effect the state of Palestine only when all the hostages will be released and with no more Hamas in the governance of Palestine, especially in order to avoid any kind of reward to terrorists. So it's clearly the opposite, of course, when we take a decision in favor of international law, first of all, and also in favor of humanitarian law, and in favor of the Palestinian people. I know that Israel government will not applaud us, but it is really important to make distinction.